Spain is a country that I'm personally quite connected to because my wife is from Madrid. And so I had never been there before I met her. And then since I met her, we went back a number of times. In fact, we didn't go back enough times because her mom had a flat in Madrid and we stay there for free. So, I should have gone there way more than I did. So I'll share with you a bit of that. Now, the challenge I have is I don't have pictures and videos of my trips, but I'll tell you about it as I share videos from others. So I guess we have enough time for people to join. So let me get back to the usual format here. Hold on for a sec. I'm going to share my screen and share my sound, and let's get to it. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen completely. And then, oops. And then I'm going to share. So we all know where this is, right? We started our usual spot, the DC Department of Aging and Community Living. Everybody see that?
Yep. Yes, Lee.
And we're going to go to, again, we'll probably go to Dulles Airport to take off. So we're not going to go, we're just going to pretend like we went to Dulles Airport. So Dulles Airport is way out here. So we're going to jump on our plane. The big airline to Spain is Iberia Airlines, and that's the national airline of Spain. So we'll take Iberia Airlines, we'll take off, and we'll start heading across the water. So it's usually a straight shot to Spain because it's close enough where you don't have to make a connection. When you go into Africa, especially Southern Africa, most planes can't fly that far. So you have to stop someplace. But when going to Spain, almost all the flights are direct because there's nowhere to stop between the US and DC and Spain. There's just no place to stop. So we're just going to keep going across the ocean, keep going. Oh my gosh, that's a long way. And look where we got. We got to Madrid. We're going to land the plane. So let's land the plane in Madrid, I guess. Better place to start than any. Most planes land in Madrid. The two biggest cities are Madrid and Barcelona. And you'll see more about this in the videos, but there's a lot of tension between Madrid and Barcelona because Barcelonans are Catalans and Madridians are Castilians. And they have a little slightly different dialect of Spanish. They can actually tell each other apart. So it seems like all things, any kind of difference, and people start, and so, but lately it hasn't been so bad. All right. So let's just do our second thing we normally do, and let's talk about Spanish history. So I'm going to toggle over to the history book, and let me play a quick video on Spanish history. Here we go.
Ah, Spain, a land marred by the scars of its past, a land almost synonymous with empire, having been under the yoke of so many foreign rulers that even they began to lose count, a land whose very own empire would stand the test of time and dramatically change the course of Mesoamerican history, and yet somehow managed to avoid 2 world wars. All this and more in that Spain was part of the Roman Empire, but before they arrived, the Iberian Peninsula already had several thriving civilizations, most of whom were thoroughly supplanted by Indo-European Celts, who had migrated south from France. Greeks and the Phoenicians had sailed these waters for centuries, setting up small trade cities and colonies. The Carthaginians, who were descendants of the Phoenicians themselves, set up a large trade empire between 650 and 300 BC, including parts of southern Spain, before coming into conflict with the Romans, who by the 3rd century were still a fledgling republic, just toying with the idea of conquering outside of Italy. This all changed with the Punic Wars, in which Rome came out on top with a slip victory over the Carthaginians' leader, Hannibal. The people of Roman Spain became thoroughly Romanized, a process accelerated by immigration from other parts of the empire. Roman law, religion, and the language became thoroughly entrenched into society and culture. Because, when in Rome, I guess. Hispania fell to various Germanic and nomadic invaders in the 5th century, competing for land and dominance. The Suevi, Vandals, and Alans carved out short-lived kingdoms for themselves before being completely overrun by the Visigoths. In 587, the Visigoth king Recared was converted from an Arian Christian to a Roman Catholic, with the rest of his kingdom soon to follow. The Visigoths fought for power and control in the region with the Byzantines, remnants of the old Roman Empire in the east, and also got pushed out of most of southern Gaul by the Franks. But they did manage to consolidate their hold on the whole of Iberia, save for the Basque region, by the year 624. But Visigoth Spain was soon to be facing a new enemy 4,000 kilometers away in Medina. From 622, the birth of Islam began to spread through the conquest of Muhammad and the Rashidun Caliphate. The empire was further expanded into previously Byzantine holdings in Africa with remarkable efficiency and speed under the Umayyad dynasty. In 711, a Berber army crossed the Straits of Gibraltar and conquered the fractured Visigoths, slowly invading further north, halted only by their defeat by the Franks at the Battle of Tor and the Spaniards at the Battle of Covadonga. The Umayyad dynasty's collapse at the hands of the Abbasi allowed one Umayyad fugitive to claim the Spanish lands for himself, first as the Emirate and then the Caliphate of Cordoba, also called the Al-Andalus. It is around the 800s and 900s that a centuries-long process called the Reconquista began, in which Spanish Christians warred against the Muslims with the goal of driving them out of Spain. The Spaniards and the Portuguese saw the Muslims as outsiders, both in culture and religion, and very little integration happened between the two classes. The Reconquistas saw the Christian domains in the north increase in size and the southern Muslim kingdoms fracture into the Taifa state, until the Almohads united them again in the 12th century. The Almohads put what would be the last nail in Muslim Spain's coffin when they implemented a strict kill or convert decree throughout their domains, causing a mass exodus of Jews and Christians from Cordoba into the northern Christian kingdoms. A crusade was led against the Almohads from 1212 to 1250 by an alliance of Spanish kingdoms driving the Moors to a land known as the Granada. Castile and Aragon, two of the most powerful kingdoms in Hispaniola, united with the marriage of Ferdinand and Isabel to create the Kingdom of Spain, which also conquered the last remnant of Muslim Granada and the Basque Kingdom of Navarre. Around the same time, an Italian sailor was bumping around from country to country seeking sponsorship for a voyage to the East Indies. Finally, on meeting Isabel and Ferdinand, and after about 2 years of indecisiveness, King Ferdinand agreed to fund Columbus's voyage, in which he discovered the Americas. If by discovered you mean after Viking Leif Erikson and the people who already lived there. The Spanish Empire in the Americas would change the world forever, at first propelling Spain to superpower status. But as soon would become evident, the discovery of new lands and the building of an empire wasn't enough to occupy the minds of the Spanish crown, and so turned their attention to religious hegemony. First decreeing the expulsion of Jews and soon followed by the Muslims, the so-called convert or expel laws in Spain laid the foundations of the Spanish Inquisition. Because nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. This period of Spanish history is notoriously bloody, even by European standards. The Habsburgs had cemented their claim on Spain as soon as they could by marrying into the Spanish family. The Habsburgs ruled over large swaths of Europe in a concerted and somewhat neurotic attempt to keep inheritance within the family, and they were notorious for their high degree of inbreeding. Habsburg Spain was also a political failure, drowning in inflation from an influx of American raw materials. Constant warfare and piracy took its toll on the empire, which lost its early lead for dominance in Europe to France, Britain, and Russia. The Habsburgs lost their hold on Spain after the War of Spanish Succession, in which a French house, the House of Bourbon, took over the Spanish crown. During the Napoleonic Wars in the 19th century, the Spanish army found themselves ill-prepared, as they had funneled their entire war treasury into preparation for a naval engagement with Britain, its main economic rival. The Spanish army was so soundly defeated by Napoleon that in the end they amounted to nothing more than unorganized skirmishes and guerrilla warfare. Napoleon briefly had his brother crowned King of Spain, but with his defeat in 1813 the monarchy was restored, with rejection of the first Spanish constitution. This led to a turbulent time in Spain, with revolutions and counter-revolutions for the next half-century. In 1873 the monarchy was abolished and the First Spanish Republic founded. The Italian king they borrowed, famously abdicating while declaring the Spanish ungovernable. But with the Spanish-American War and the Cuban 10 Years' War, Spain became a shell of the empire it once was, losing all its holdings in America and the Philippines. With the outbreak of World War I, Spain declared neutrality and experienced an economic boom, stifled only by the Spanish flu and insurrections in Morocco. The instability and lack of centralized control would eventually lead to the Spanish Civil War, between competing factions of nationalists and Republicans who split the nation in two. The Civil War is a long and grueling topic that has such complex motives and ideologies, not unlike those happening in the rest of Europe in the 1900s. So complex, in fact, that it deserves its own video, which is why you should go to my friend over at Feature History who has made just that. Francisco Franco and his dictatorship, which presided over the Second World War, created what we now call nationalist Spain, an ideology not unlike fascist Italy and Nazi Germany, conceding, however, the official neutrality of Spain during the war. With his death in 1975, he decreed the restoration of the monarchy with full autocratic powers, but was marred in King Juan Carlos's decision to seek a constitutional monarchy for the kingdom. Spain joined the European Union in 1986, which helped stabilize the economy and industry in the new government. The boom in tourism and economic growth in Spain were unprecedented at one point, becoming Europe's fourth largest economy. This came to a grinding halt with the 2008 global recession, which saw a property bubble burst in Spain in particular, creating a devastating long-term economic hardship. Spain also currently has a few other issues on its plate, including a secessionist movement in Catalonia, a historically distinct culture region on the southeast, and the European migrant crisis beginning in 2015. But modern Spain is still a haven of tourism, with millions visiting each year, as well as an important political entity in Western Europe, working hard for industrial growth and slowly healing the wounds of its recent history.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Firstly,
Great. All right. Well, that was interesting. At least I found it interesting. Any thoughts about this? Anybody experience any? I know last week we had people who had direct experience in Italy in World War II. Anybody or family members have any experience with the Spanish Civil War or anything like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Mine don't. Not I.
And I could share a little bit. My wife's grandfather was a journalist, and he was involved in the Spanish Civil War on the side of Franco, the nationalists, and he was imprisoned for a long time. So so my wife is, in her side of the family, is like very touchy about the communism and things like that, because they had their grandfather imprisoned, and they actually like Franco. I don't know much of the story and all, and but I know there's differences of opinion on that, so I'll stay away from that topic. So anyway, so that's a little bit about the history of Spain. So let's jump into another video here. Just a moment. Okay, so what is there to see about Spain nowadays? So let's fire up another video. So these are some of the top things to see in Spain today. And I'll stop and toggle from time to time. Like Italy and even Croatia.
Splendid beaches, delicious cuisine, vibrant nightlife, and lively fiestas all make Spain one of Europe's best getaways. Because Spain encompasses several autonomous regions and islands, the country boasts one of the most widely diverse cultures and landscapes on the continent. Here's a look at the top places to visit in Spain.
It look nice. Beaches.
Number 10. Santiago de Compostella. The capital city of the Galicia region in northwestern Spain, Santiago de Compostella is famous as the final destination of the traditional pilgrimage known as Camino de Santiago. This pilgrimage is important to many Christians because it is believed that Santiago de Compostella is where Saint James, an apostle of Jesus Christ, is buried. Today, the city attracts thousands of visitors every year for both its religious tradition and history. The arriving point for most pilgrims is the main square. Situated in the heart of the city, this bustling plaza is the scene of many important landmarks, particularly the Santiago Cathedral, where the tomb of St. James is located. Number 9. Toledo. Perched on a mountaintop in central Spain, Toledo served as the Spanish capital until the 16th century. Because it was inhabited by Jews, Christians, and Muslims for many centuries, the city is sometimes called the City of Three Cultures. Today, Toledo is a popular destination for its wealth of historic art and architecture that dates back to the Roman Empire. The best thing to do in Toledo is to get lost amid the medieval streets and admire the old architecture that includes a stunning cathedral, synagogue, and mosque.
Now, I'll stop for a moment. You know, one thing that's really interesting about Spain, especially the middle of Spain on south, is the evidence of the Moorish, the Arabic, the Muslim culture. And it's amazing when you think that Spain was a Muslim country, an Arabic country occupied by the Moors for 750 years. I mean, that's longer than 3 times as long as the United States has existed. And so, you know, you see evidence within the cities of Muslim type architecture and, you know, Arabic minarets and things like that. And it's really unique in Europe to see that. And you see that in Toledo for sure. So I'll keep going. They have trains that go from Madrid to Toledo. It's only about a 30-minute train ride, and you get into this kind of like medieval beauty. It's a huge medieval city. It goes on forever because it was the capital of Spain for so long.
That's cool right there.
A lot of the other medieval cities you see are pretty small, oftentimes on hilltops and smaller villages, but Toledo is not one of them. It's just absolutely huge. It's all medieval architecture.
It's pretty.
Number 8. Cordoba.
We drove by Cordoba and I still kick myself.
Cordoba is the capital of the Cordoba province in the Andalusian region of southern Spain. The historic quarter of Cordoba is a maze of tiny medieval streets, plazas, and whitewashed courtyards, all situated around the star attraction, the Mezquita. Initially built as a mosque, the Mezquita is now a glorious cathedral, retaining most of its original architecture. Its forest of columns topped with Islamic-style red and white striped arches serves as a reminder of the glory and importance Cordoba held in medieval times. Other places of interest include the fortress of the Christian monarchs, the Street of Flowers, and the Old Jewish Quarter with its charming patios and souvenir shops.
This mesquite that you see in this picture is really famous.
Wow.
It's one of the most famous
Really?
Arabic structures ever built. It has
It's
this forest. Yeah. I didn't know that when we were traveling through there. We just drove right past it. It's interesting. You see the Roman columns there in the previous picture. Then you got the Moorish, mesquite, and then you got the medieval stuff. You got all these layers. You know what's funny is I think we're starting to see that in the United States. We're a pretty young country, so to have those layers of history embedded in our cities, it's pretty recent.
Number 7, San Sebastian.
I love San Sebastian.
San Sebastian is located in the Basque territory of northern Spain, off the coast of the Bay of Biscay. This beautiful seaside city is well loved for its excellent beaches and outstanding culinary tradition. The Old Town features many historic buildings reconstructed in the 19th century after the city was nearly destroyed during the Napoleonic Wars. San Sebastian also boasts some of the best beaches in Europe, with the most popular of these being Playa de la Conca, which offers sunbathing and water activities like
I would say most, if not almost all of the Spanish cities and the smaller towns are centered around these beaches that are like crescent beaches. And the city actually centers around these beaches. And it makes for these absolutely, beautiful, beautiful towns and cities.
like swimming, kayaking, and water skiing. Number 6, Valencia. One of the largest and most important cities in Spain, Valencia is located in the eastern part of the country in the region of Valencia. After redirecting the Turia River, the city constructed its most impressive landmark, a massive cultural and entertainment complex known as the City of Arts and Science. Contained within this complex are several buildings such as Number 5, Sevilla.
These are big cities, Valencia and Sevilla.
Exceptional tourist attractions, lively festivals, and buzzing nightlife all make Sevilla one of the best places to visit in Spain.
The seaside villages way
As the
better.
capital city of Andalusia, Sevilla is also the region's financial and cultural capital. The city is home to many beautiful and important historic landmarks, chief of which is the Grand Cathedral of Sevilla, where it is believed that Christopher Columbus is buried. Another significant building is the Real Alcazar, an extravagant Moorish palace with luxurious gardens.
I'll skip to Madrid here.
Number 4, Madrid. Spain's capital and largest city, Madrid, is widely known for its sizzling nightlife scene. The city constitutes a diversity of ethnic groups, making it one of Europe's most colorful cosmopolitan cities. Located within the city center are most of Madrid's popular tourist attractions, such as the Royal Palace, the residence of Spain's monarch. The heart of Madrid and Spain is Puerta del Sol, a large plaza serving as the scene of festivals, important gatherings, and street performers, as well as a hub for the public transportation network. Another important square is Plaza Mayor, known for the lively San Miguel market.
And Madrid's climate actually is pretty similar to DC. The temperature and the amount of sunshine in the summertime, it's a little bit drier, a little less humid, but not much. And so what people would do and what we would do is my wife's mother lived in the outskirts, and we would jump on the metro and go downtown every single night. It was just so nice, to have these nice evenings, and pretty much everybody did that, going out on the squares and bring your family down there. And, that's, I think, the main thing that everybody does there. And it's really nice because during the day, it's just too hot. It's very similar to DC in the summertime. Yeah, I'll skip to Barcelona now.
Number 3, Barcelona.
So this is the big competing city
Located in
against
northeastern
Madrid.
Spain, Barcelona is one of the country's top traveled destinations because it offers everything tourists look for in a European city, from historic architecture to lively shopping and buzzing nightlife. Unique to Barcelona are the architectural marvels of Spain's famous architect Antoni Gaudí, which include the Casa Patillo and the famous Sagrada Familia Church. Both of these extraordinary structures feature combinations of fascinating designs, shapes, and colors.
So this is one of the most
Wow.
famous sites in all of Spain, the Sagrada Familia by Gaudi. I'm not a big Gaudi fan, but a lot of the world is. And this cathedral has been under construction for like 100 years, and it's expected to continually be under construction for the next 100 years.
Mm.
So yeah, it's just continuously under construction.
Popular activities in Barcelona include strolling along Rambla, a tree-lined pedestrian avenue, and sunbathing on Barceloneta, one of the city's most popular beaches.
It's a famous Gaudi apartment.
Number 2, Mallorca.
I've never been there, so I wanted to watch this video and see what it
One of
looks
the
like.
most popular of Spain's Balearic Islands, Mallorca is a celebrated beach escape that gets 300 days of sunshine every year. With quiet coves, limestone mountains, citrus orchards, and sleepy stone villages overlooking the Mediterranean, it's perfect for relaxing. But there's a lot more to Mallorca than meets the eye. The island is also home to several Roman and Moorish ruins, as well as a pumping nightlife scene in the capital of Palma. For those interested in history and architecture, don't miss the Royal Palace with its glorious Moorish design and the Palma Cathedral with its enchanting Gothic facade.
I'll skip next to this
Number 1,
is a great
Granada.
place here. Very famous
Located
place.
at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains of southern Spain, Granada is the capital of the Granada province. Granada offers a perfect blend of traditional cultures, an animated nightlife, and spectacular attractions, including the world-famous Alhambra, a pinnacle of Moorish art that encapsulates Andalusian history. The medieval complex overlooking Granada is one of the great architectural sites of Europe, with many visitors coming to Granada expressly to see the Alhambra. The last Moorish stronghold in Europe, the Alhambra offers the visitors splendid ornamental architecture, spectacular and lush gardens, and breathtaking views of the city below.
The Alhambra is really a remarkable place. It's sort of like the Alamo for the Moors. In 1492, the same year that Columbus discovered America, in quotes, the Europeans did anyway, that same year, the king and queen of France finally expelled the remaining Moors out of Europe. The Moors were the Arabs, the Muslims. And their last stronghold, like the Alamo, was the Alhambra. and they had a big war there, as they tried to hold the Alhambra. And ultimately, the Moors failed to hold it, and I'm not sure what happened to them. I wouldn't be surprised if it was not good. And but ultimately, that was the last final stronghold for the Moors in 1492, and they no longer were in Europe. So they held Spain from 1800 until 1492. So that is what? That's 700 years. I mean, that's incredible. The amount of time that Spain was an Arabic country. Continue playing. Well, that's sort of it. Any thoughts or reflections, comparisons to Italy or Croatia? Anybody has?
I missed them too.
But
You missed
you know what,
those?
Ludo, the buildings are so beautiful, and they're still standing. They probably been built centuries and centuries ago, and they're
Yeah.
still standing, and they're gorgeous, and the houses are so close together with the same color rooftops. That's amazing to see that architecture.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think a lot of that is because they're not made of wood. They don't have many trees in Europe. They were cut down by, the who knows who, centuries, thousands of years ago. And so they didn't have wood to build things out of. So everything's made out of stone, and the walls are thick. And that's actually true of most of Europe, because the trees were cut down for firewood by the, what do they call them? The prehistoric folks. And so there's not a lot of trees there. I think that really adds to
Neanderthals.
with that.
Neanderthals.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah. So anyway, that's and also the war. So you remember they said that Spain managed to avoid two world wars. In a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about Germany, and Germany was leveled. I mean, these beautiful historic cities, just like Spain, if not even more grand, they were leveled. I mean, nothing left. And so, when you get into the cities in Germany, except for a few exceptions, like Salzburg in the southern part of Germany, or Düsseldorf, the Romantistrasse is another area where there's a few villages that retain their original structures. War was the other thing that just wiped out a lot of the structures there. Germany, I mean, of course, World War II, the Allies just leveled that whole country, just about. Some in France, but maybe mainly on the border with Germany, there was fighting, but the French quickly surrendered to the Germans, so it didn't annihilate their cities. Anyway. All right. Well, I'm going to jump to my favorite spot. So my first trip to Spain, interestingly, happened. I won it. I was in the computer business in Seattle at the time, and my business won a raffle, and I got to go to Spain and take my brand new wife and our brand new daughter. She was less than a year old, to Spain for about 21 days. And it was really an incredible thing, and it was all free. That was even more incredible. And what was interesting is that we were there. The trip was in 1992, which was just, my daughter was born in 1992. So what's remarkable about 1992? Any thoughts? What's remarkable in Spain about 1992?
The Olympics.
Oh, did Madrid host the Olympics?
Barcelona.
Barcelona did, yeah. But that was later. That was, what year was that? 96 or?
No,
Was it 92?
96.
But that's a good guess. Anything else significant about 1992?
That part of the country tried to break away. I think it was Castile.
Yeah, that was Barcelona trying to break away from the Madrid area, and yeah, and that's still going on. Well, what I was thinking of is 1992 is the 500th anniversary of the voyage of Christopher Columbus. 500 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
The two.
And I didn't add that up before I went. So we just stumbled into it. So, oh my God. So it was that obviously that was a big deal in Spain. So there's all these festivals and things like that. But my favorite city that I went to was this city here called Marbella. And my brand new wife picked this city out for us to go to. So this is like a luxury vacation spot. I normally couldn't afford it, but the trip is free. So we stayed at this gorgeous hotel right on the ocean called the Hotel da Pepe. I still remember the name. It was what, 30 years ago. And for hundreds of years, this was like the main spot where the Spanish people spent their summer vacations. And it's right on the south end of Spain. That's the Mediterranean Ocean, right on the south end of Spain. And they have the most adorable cities. It's a little village town. It's not a big city. And they have the most adorable streets. Really, really amazing streets. There you go. It's like that goes on for miles. I just couldn't get enough of it. Couldn't get enough. Everything's all whitewashed. Yeah, that was one of the best times of my whole life. My daughter wasn't even a year old.
Ooh, how was the food over there?
Oh, it's good. It's good. I'm not much of a food guy, I'll eat anything.
Oh, okay.
But it was good. But I just love these little windy streets. You see that? The whitewashed walls. Oh, I'm happy they captured this.
Everything looks so nice and clean.
Yeah. It's a pretty, what's the right word? Pretty. Oh, here.
Very cultured.
Yeah. I think that's flamenco. My niece is a flamenco dancer. She dances the flamenco. That woman's a flamenco dancer. And they got.
Oh,
What sea is that off of?
That's the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay.
Let's see if we can go there virtually here. Let's see if so here, let's go back onto this right here. So we're in Madrid. So the way you get there is you travel south out of Madrid. See how close Toledo is right here to Madrid? It's just a short ride. So our first trip, we drove down this road right here, went to Toledo, drove south, and then drove south. On the way back, we went this way, and I drove right past Cordoba. I'm such a dummy. I didn't even stop. Oh, I got to tell you what happened. You know why I didn't stop? Because when we got to Granada, although it was really beautiful, the streets were so narrow that you had to drive on. I mean, we had a tiny little car. In Europe, the cars are really tiny. And we got one of the tiniest little cars in Europe. And it's all stick shift. Most cars in Europe are, stick shift. So luckily, I know how to drive a stick shift. And so, but it's all windy and hilly, which is hard, when you're driving stick. And so And so one of the streets in Granada was so narrow that both sides of my car were scratching the walls of the building at the same time as I was going down the street.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was like, so that traumatized me a little bit. It's like I did not want to go into the center of these cities anymore. All I was thinking is, what's the rental company going to charge me for this? So after that, I was traumatized, and I would park outside the center of the city, or I wouldn't even go in the center of the city with my car.
Hey, Lou,
Yeah.
how expensive is it to live or visit there?
You know, right now it's cheaper than the United States because the euro and the dollar are pretty similar. Can anybody tell me what the exchange rate is between the euro and the dollar? Like, I think it's pretty close to 1 to 1. 1 euro is $1. And that's I think it's pretty close to that. Like, can anybody Google it?
What's the exchange rate between the euro and the dollar?
Yeah.
But a hotel stay would be about
Yep.
it is here in the
One-
States.
How much is it?
€1 equal $1.09.
Okay, so that's
Oh.
pretty close. I mean, when we were there, it was $1.35, and or the last time I was there. So, you know, when it's $1.09, things are pretty cheap. It's like a third the cost. So, you know what, Ron? Me and my wife were planning a trip. We were planning a trip this last summer to go to Portugal. We had tickets and everything because my wife had never been to Portugal. We're going to go to Spain to see her family. And we were going to stop in, my wife's a hardcore Catholic. So when you're a hardcore Catholic, you know, you got to stop at all the shrines. And so what's the big one in Portugal? Does anybody know? There's a really famous one in Portugal. I'm forgetting right now.
In Portugal.
Yeah, what is
Wait
that
a
one
minute.
called?
Portugal.
Yeah, there's a really famous apparition they had where the 3 children saw the Virgin Mary. I can't believe I'm forgetting it.
That's the shrine of the Holy Mother or something. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't believe I can't remember the name.
Is it
Re-
Fatima?
Fatima, yes.
The Fatima, yeah.
Yes. Fatima's right here. So we had all our hotels booked. So I was staying in Lisbon for about $90. I had hotel booked for $90. And then we had a hotel booked in Fatima for $46. What nice hotels, $46. And then we went up far to the coast, and you know, you could easily stay in a nice hotel for anywhere from $40 to $60. I was really surprised. And then we went even going up, crossing into Spain. Our trip was going to go into Spain here, Pontevedra and some of these areas, and Santiago in here. You know, you're not paying over $100 for a hotel, and you can easily pay, you know, $50. So it's a lot less expensive than the United States, a lot less expensive. So you just got to get there, you know. That's what costs the money. But if you can get there, it's a lot less expensive. So I'll shoot down to Marbella, see if I can. Y'all done Google Street View? I love Google Street View.
Yeah.
So Marbella is somewhere down in here. Oh yeah, there it is right here. So we also went to Gibraltar. You ever remember the Rock of Gibraltar?
Gibraltar.
Yes.
Big rock right here, and it's right across from Africa right here. You can see Africa from there. So Marbella is on the Mediterranean. That's the Mediterranean right there. See that? So Marbella is on the Mediterranean. And then you zoom in. Mediterranean is warm. It's really warm. And you know what's weird about the Mediterranean? It's really salty. It's like way saltier than the ocean. I think it's because the Mediterranean is almost an inland lake. You know, if this little narrow thing was cut off, then the whole sea would be a lake. cut off from the rest of the ocean. So here's Marbella right here. I'm going to zoom in. Let's go for a walk on one of the streets. So we do it all virtually. We stay at the Hotel Don Pepe. I don't know if you can see that here. But let me zoom in, and where is there the old streets? I bet these are the old streets. So I'm gonna put this little guy right in here, and let's go for a walk like right here. Okay, that's a bad example, because that's sort of modern. But these little streets go on, and I just loved it. Anyway, so if you get a chance, go on Google Street View and you can check out some of these things. And I think that's about it, except we have to go do our Spanish trivia. Any more thoughts or questions about Spain before we get into the? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Is the weather like? Do they have tornadoes, hurricanes over there?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, the United States is the tornado capital of the world, like by far. Nobody gets tornadoes like the United States. And a lot of that is because the air from the Gulf of Mexico is so much different than the air that comes from the West. And where those cross, you get all that swirling action. They don't have the same thing in Europe. So tornadoes are really rare. And when they do happen, they're not very strong. I was surprised. I did some research. Maryland is like one of the top 5 states for tornadoes in the United States. Maryland, yeah. So we get a lot of tornadoes here. And then hurricanes, they don't get. I don't think they get almost no hurricanes. So the hurricane, we should remember we talked last couple of weeks ago, last month, about how the weather goes off the coast of Senegal. It crosses It crosses the Sahara Desert, and then it hits Senegal, and then it goes offshore. These thunderstorm systems, they go offshore in Senegal, and they have the rainy season in Senegal. So Senegal is like a desert during the non-rainy season. In the rainy season, Senegal's underwater. They get so much rain. They have rice paddies all over. When I was in Senegal, I never went there in the rainy season. I'm saying, well, there's no rice paddies here. This place is a desert. But during the rainy season, it's underwater. Because it rains so much. And these aren't thunderstorms like we have here in DC. These thunderstorms are like crazy, and they last for days. And so these storms, they go off the coast because they're heading west. They go off the coast, and these giant thunderstorms, because the rotation of the earth begin to swirl. And that's what, becomes the hurricanes that eventually cross the whole ocean and hit the United States. And so, these hurricanes, they have to cross the whole Atlantic Ocean. Sometimes they curve, though, and they head back to Europe. And so it's not unprecedented for hurricanes, although they become extremely weak by the time they get back to Europe, the remnants of hurricanes to hit, Spain and even farther north. But it's nothing like what we have here in the United States. Our tornadoes are unprecedented anywhere in the world, and our hurricanes, those are pretty bad too.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So is there a certain season when they have these hurricanes and storms?
Yeah. So it's in it's in like July, August, September that they have these insane storms in Senegal that go off the coast. And yeah, watch for it on the weather. Like, the Weather Channel. I don't know if you all watch the Weather Channel. But they show, like, in July, August, September, they show these storms leaving the coast of Africa. And they are huge. And if you go on weather.com, you could pull up the weather radar in Senegal. We can do that right now.
Oh yeah, Lou. I've shown them on the weather app how to look up different places in the weather that's going on as well.
Yeah. So if you ever have a chance, like July, August, September, it's a little late now, just pull up the weather radar in Senegal. You'll see storms that are bigger than anything we have in the United States. They're not tornadoes and they're not hurricanes. They're just these massive thunderstorms. Okay, anyway.
Thank you, Lou.
Yeah.
Lou,
All right.
let me ask you now, with the streets being so small, I didn't see any like buses or anything for like public
that's right.
transportation. So do they have like, do they depend on like the small cars to get people where they're trying to get to?
Bicycles, mopeds.
Yeah, that's a good question, Brendan. The center of these cities are pedestrian only.
Okay.
When you get farther out, a little farther, that's when you get some streets. Like that's where my car was scratching the wall on both sides.
Right.
That wasn't the center. The center is so narrow you can't even get anything through it. So it gets narrower and narrower and narrower, and especially when you get into the Moorish section, the old Arab sections. Oh my gosh, these streets are like 5 feet wide. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool because it's like you're in a maze. Easy to get lost.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's and I haven't been there since the advent of all these electric scooters and all that. But
Okay.
I bet these cities are full of electric scooters now.
Probably, yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh.
And bicycles, electric bikes.
Yeah, I bet
Yeah.
it's cool.
Okay.
All right, so first question here on Spanish trivia. Oh, any other questions about Spain before I go into
I'm
this?
also here I'm ready as well, Lou, to take names down.
All right. Oh, by the way, I mailed 2 sessions worth of jewelry out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So watch your mail. And some of you got 2 pieces, like Brenda, you got 2. I mailed them in 2 separate letters because I was afraid the post office wouldn't accept,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And there's like 3 people that got 2 pieces, and I made sure that they were different, different kinds as much as I could.
Okay.
All right, Spanish trivia. So in what city is the world's oldest continuously operating restaurant? Anybody know?
Madrid.
Yeah, who said that?
Oh, me?
Good job, Miss Melanie.
Who was that?
Miss Melanie.
Miss Melanie, congratulations, you got it.
I was just guessing. But you said it was the nightlife, so Madrid was known for the nightlife.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
it's still a necklace or a bracelet, right, Lou?
M-A-D. That's I'd rather have a necklace, please.
So this restaurant has been continuously operating for almost 300 years. That is insane.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Yeah, continuously operating for 300 years. All
Is
right.
one family? Is that one family that had it? And all
Probably
of their...
not. Probably,
Oh,
maybe,
okay.
maybe.
Okay.
It's just the question is what's continuously operating. You know?
Yeah, okay. Okay.
It's
Must
probably
have
been
good
handy.
food.
Yeah, I don't know. If you Google the name and you can learn all about it.
That's a button.
All right, so the winner, what do you want, a necklace or a bracelet?
A necklace, please.
Necklace, you got it.
Go Melanie, go Melanie.
All right, next one. We're big on the tennis players in these presentations. What famous male tennis player was born and lives in Spain? Anybody know?
Bajon.
Good boy.
What's it Bajon?
Rafael Nadal.
Ooh, who's that?
Oh, good job, Miss Foster.
All right, good job.
Good job.
All right.
That was so fast.
That's a good. By the way, the current number 2 player is also from Spain. Well, who is that? Has anybody can somebody Google that? He beat Djokovic. We know where Djokovic is from, right? Everybody know where Djokovic is from?
Croatia.
Croatia.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Yeah. But this guy from Spain beat.
Who's the number 2 tennis player?
What's his name? He's also from Spain. I'm forgetting his name. All
The
right.
number 2 tennis player from
Is it
Spain.
Carlos Alcaraz?
I think that's it. Yes, Brenda, that's it. Yeah.
Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah. What's
Okay.
his ranking? What's his ranking? Is he 2 or 1?
3.
I'm not sure. I'm looking second spot. Right.
Second.
Number 2, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Spain produces some mighty good tennis players. All right, next question. Wait a
Miss
minute.
Foster, would you like a necklace or a bracelet, Miss Foster?
A necklace.
All right, I got you. Okay.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Good job, Miss Foster.
Thanks, Miss Foster. Okay, next question. What are the first and second most spoken languages in the world? You have to get both.
English and
English and
Spanish.
Spanish.
English
Yep.
No, no,
What?
Spanish and French.
No.
Spanish and French.
No.
no,
English is the first one.
no,
No, for English?
Arabic and Spanish.
no. Someone Google it. You got to Google it.
Cantonese and Spanish.
That is
Two most-
really close, but
two
but
most-
not quite.
What's the 2 most languages spoken in the world?
They say English, no?
No, it's not even. Doesn't even make the list.
You got it?
Was it Muslim and Spanish?
Oh, English.
Well, put it on.
Say it.
Is
All
it
English.
Muslim and Spanish?
All
No,
English.
no, no,
Is it Arabic?
no. Keep guessing. Whoever said Cantonese is close. That's a
What is
hint.
the 2 most spoken languages in the world?
Chinese and Spanish.
English and Hindi, Mandarin,
Mandarin, yeah, Mandarin is
Mandarin.
number 1. And what's number
and
2?
English.
No.
No.
Spanish. Spanish number two.
Spanish
and Mandarin.
Spanish.
Okay, so who got that? Who got that?
It was a combination of everyone. No one got it.
Oh no.
Mandarin.
That was a good question.
Yeah, who would have known, right? We all think English is on the list. It doesn't even
Yeah.
make the
English
list.
and Mandarin.
Yeah,
Oh, I
can you look
thought
at
so. No,
the,
it is
look at the
not
participants
English.
with Lou and
It's
pick
Spanish.
somebody?
Yeah, it is. That's the answer.
Yeah,
You don't-
I don't know what we're gonna do.
Lou,
we
you
got
go on
one
the
prize for this.
list and can you go on the participants?
I already got a prize. I'm good.
I didn't figure out that I'm surprised that it wasn't Chinese.
Well, Mandarin is Chinese.
Mandarin is
But
Chinese.
I mean, I thought, it would be another form of Chinese.
Okay, Cantonese and Mandarin are the two main languages that people call Chinese.
Yeah.
But they're 2 different languages. But people call them Chinese. But Mandarin is spoken more widely than Cantonese. Well, okay, so how do we pick of the people who are who hasn't won a prize yet? Of the people who were part of this? Guessing.
Me.
Who is that?
I got it.
Who's that?
Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer, have you won anything yet from our?
No.
Okay, are you all okay if we give it to Jennifer? Is everybody okay
No,
with
it's okay with me.
Yes.
that? All
Yeah,
right,
I'm with it too.
all right. Well, Alex, can you get Jennifer's information and also what she wants?
Would you like a necklace or a bracelet, Miss Jennifer?
Necklace.
All right, thanks so much.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last question. Only 4 questions today. Here we go.
Mm.
Who has the first and second longest life expectancy in the world? You have to get both.
Japan
The first and
and,
second longest life.
I got it. It's Japan.
Japan and China.
No.
Japan and Spain.
Yes. Who's that?
I want to say England.
That was me, but somebody could have it. That was Miss Melanie. Somebody could have it though.
Yes, Miss Melanie, can you please look at the participants list and choose somebody?
Okay, let me see.
But yes, we also learned about this a few months ago when our nutrition bowl, we learned about all the countries and those who have the highest life expectancy.
So 40% of Spain's population is over 60. And so that's an interesting fact and alarming, since the pension system of Spain is built on contributions from younger generations. Sounds like our problems here.
Give it to Miss Doris Gudger.
Thank you, Miss Melanie. I know Miss Doris appreciates it. Miss Doris, would you like a necklace or
Thank
a
you, Miss
bracelet?
Melanie.
You're welcome.
Yes.
I will have a bracelet.
All right, Miss Doris, I got you. Okay. Thanks so much, Miss Melanie, for your kindness.
Thank you, Melanie.
You're more than welcome.
All right, folks. Well, we're at the top of the hour. So I think we made it through. Any other closing thoughts or remarks? I'm sure enjoying doing this, and I welcome your feedback, how I can make it better. Also, you know, how can we get more people to join this? That's my big question. There's got to be a way we can get more folks involved.
Today we have 33 folks on the call. So I really appreciate you all getting on to Lou's. As you can see, there's one of the most interesting sessions we have. For the week.
Yeah,
So,
it's very interesting.
So if you know anyone in the program, just, you know, if you haven't seen them in a while, just encourage them to attend our different sessions. Okay.
Okay, and I have a suggestion that when we are more than 30 on, I'm gonna brag about it.
Oh, good.
So yeah, y'all missed out. You should have been there.
Yeah.
You know, pique people's curiosity.
But you know what, Alex, too, a lot of us don't have everyone's phone numbers, so we can call them and say, you know, come on in and join the program. I think you all have that information. So, I mean, I have some people that like to join to get an iPad. I have some numbers for that. But as far as the other participants, I mean, how can we get in touch with them to tell them to come on to the program?
I recommend that during like the talk show or, you know, our other lunch, you know, especially the talk show, you mentioned it as well. So, you know, whoever hosts it, you know, or whoever just wants to speak, because everyone can speak during those, you know, sessions, just to encourage it. So, you know, on Thursdays, you know, you have the talk show and the lunch club before the 1:30. So, you know, mention it, say what you liked about it. You know, when you come on to any session, you know, in the first few minutes, just talk about things like that, and that will get people interested, because
pique their
you know, they you know, everyone gets their emails, and you know, we'll be, you know, getting our text, and you know, it's on their calendar. So every you know, if you are actually a participant in the program, you should know how to access the email and all that information to know, because I know that this would be interesting to many people. We've literally went over Africa, Europe, and next month, you know, we do another continent, and that's a lot of fun. So that's what we recommend, because of course we can't give out, you know, phone numbers and all that good stuff, but you know, just use what you have in these sessions is what we have to be able to pique interest. So I know Lou, I'm not sure if he was going to mention it, but we have our movie of the month next Thursday at 6. So again, you can encourage others during the talk show and the lunch clubs to attend, you know, these newer-ish sessions, but any session that you enjoy, talk about it, and that will get people interested.
But by the way, one of the actors in the movie Marley and Me will actually be on the call. And if the actor he's one of the child actors in the movie Marley and Me that we're playing next Thursday. Yeah. And one of the actors will actually be on the call. But if the actor himself can't be on the call because he was a kid during the filming, his dad will be on the call. So one of the two or both will be on the call you can ask him questions. What was Jennifer Aniston like? You know, who's the other guy? I'm forgetting his name. Pretty famous.
No, I want to know what Marley was like.
Yeah, what the dog was like, everything. All right, you guys want to keep talking? I gotta go grab something. So,
yes.
Or Alex, you can shut it down
today. But let's all thank Lou for hosting.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you, Lou, very much.
Thanks, Lou.
Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations.
Right, thank you.
Congratulations.
Ms. Jennifer and Ms. Doris. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Melanie.
Thank you.
Thank you
Well,
for
Alex,
being
I will tell everybody to come on, get on here.
here. Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
Get your butt on the program.
Well, I like
But
coming on
I
there,
mean,
but
but
my
it's
I was having
mostly the
problems with
same
my
folks.
battery.
So
Yes, you know, it's just all about that little encouragement and maybe
Yes,
yeah,
interesting. It's just,
yeah. So just encourage them to open that email. That's what we, you know, we have
That's it.
many. If you open that email, you can see what's going on for the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say open that email.
Just like, all
But
righty.
yes,
I'm gonna get me
so
something.
we'll be ending the Zoom and starting in back up in about 10 minutes or so for our module on email. So again, thanks so much for getting on to Lou's Lunch Club today, and I'll see you in a couple minutes for our last class of the day, our module on email, all right?
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey,
okay.
thank you, Alex.
No
Yeah,
problem. Have
thanks,
a
Alex.
good day. See you all soon.